Navigate up
You
button.
see, babe,
Double tap to activate.
all these things you are saying, I am the happiest man seeing you come down to Nigeria here. But it's quite unfortunate that things played out the way they did. And that doesn't change my love for you. I love you and I will ever love you. If I don't love and care about you, I will not be reaching out to you. Do you know how many times you've blocked me? You've continued blocking me, yet I'll keep reaching out to you, even when you neglected me, when you blocked me, and when you didn't give a freaking damn about me. I keep reaching out to you. That alone should show you how large my heart is and how sincerely I love and care about you. So all these things you are saying, you know, even before you came out, you were threatening me, telling me every time that you are not going to get married to me, that I'm delusional. Even when I tried, telling you that I'm going to marry, you kept telling me that I'm delusional, that I'm foolish, thinking that I will get married to you. Some of those things. The thing is that you don't understand the importance of words. You don't attach meaning to words. You just say anything and you say things. How we should go back to messages we exchanged. I mean our text messages before you came the things you said. You are the one that even got me confused because you kept hammering on it that you are not getting married to me, that you are not that you are just coming for the TV show. You are even encouraging me to smile to the camera. That is just it. We just smile to the camera and all of that. As if it was on the TV show you were coming for. So you screwed everything. Honestly, you screwed everything. You screwed everything by the things you've said. And yeah, I must tell you the truth. I must tell you the truth.
So here's the thing. I was able to have an interview with Rayne. Okay, something that I will be playing shortly in this video. But I wanted to start off with this voice note. Now there are more voice notes to come as well, okay, in this video. Now, recently I made a video regarding some screenshots that Rayne had posted on her social media. Okay. And those screenshots were conversation between her and Chidi and pretty much exposing the way Chidi really was towards her. And some people took it the way they did, and some people took it another way, which is completely fine. All right. Now, it's important that I play this particular voice note first because it's going to help set the tone for how you are going to choose to want to view Rayne throughout the rest of this video regarding what she has to say in the interview, whether or not you'll be in a position where you're going to believe and understand the situation, or you're still going to, still treat the situation based on how we saw her on the show. All right. Now, I will say this though, I have got so much more voice notes to show throughout this video, as well as also screenshots too, okay, that are going to back up some of the things that Rayne has to say throughout this video as well. And some of these things will answer things such as the GoFundMe, the Chidi Light empowerment, as well as the treatment of how she was treated when she was really there, things that happen off camera, as well as the things that happen on camera. All right, guys, and of course, I said before, the evidence will be there as well. Now, the reason why I start off also with the voice note add on top of this background here is because in the video that I did make of her exposing the screenshots, the same video that I did say to you guys there's more to come, which is why we're here now. Rayne does make it abundantly clear that Chidi had been calling her multiple times ever since she left Nigeria, okay, and she came back from there. Now, the screenshots that she showed were dated back in September 2023. Reason being is because that's when she had just come back from Nigeria, which fits the timeline of when we last saw her and Chidi on the show. So for some people who were thinking that, oh well, this happened last year, this doesn't matter. It does matter because it's all a part of the timeline. Because it's her saying that, hey, despite what you saw on TV, this man was still chasing me after. This man was still on my case. And as you heard on the voice note, she had blocked him and he kept trying to contact her time and time again. Now, as you can see, this itself in particular is dated March 12th, 2024, as you can see on the top. Well, to me, it's my top left-hand corner, but to you guys might be your top right-hand corner. I'm not too sure. Okay. And as you can see right there, and the reason why his pictures like that is because he had contacted on a different number on a business account. Okay, and as you can see, he does stuff by saying, "Hi, how are you doing? It's really been a while. I heard from you." All right, and I also bear that in mind too, because that's also going to play into some of the voice notes that I will play for you folks later on throughout the video as well. All right, okay. And obviously, as you can see here, this man was consistently trying to ring her, literally by the second. The timestamps are there; they're not necessarily in order, but they are all there to show you that he was ringing her literally by each second, trying to get her attention, and she was doing nothing but ignoring the phone calls, okay, because she's finally done with it. Hence the reason why she kept blocking him and he kept coming back with some way to contact her. All right. Now, this is also important because at the beginning of the season, him and his sister came out to make screenshots, okay, talking about how they were dating for 3 years and then there was a break. And then obviously, she's the one that came back in the picture, pretty much begging for him to be on the show, blah, 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 blah. When in reality, we're looking at him consistently begging her to give him his attention. And I will have more voice notes to back up that statement as well that I will play again throughout the rest of the video, okay? But I will say this though, I do believe that I actually have another voice note that I do want to play for you folks before we do start the interview stuff in particular as well.
But babe, how come if I don't chat you, you will not chat me? We can only chat whenever I chat you, and we can only talk whenever I call you. Why has it always been like this? Even if we are just mere friends, doesn't mean you can reach out. Like, is it like something that is your nature not to reach out to friends or what? I don't understand.
Well, we also obviously how he was portrayed throughout the season, as well as seeing how she was portrayed throughout the season, and we also saw how their relationship ended in the season. For somebody that decided to walk away from her and painted her as someone that was a complete villain to him, well, it is quite interesting how he can't seem to just leave her alone. Now, with that being said, the interview is now going to start between myself and Renee, and then I will then show you guys um, extra voice notes, also of him saying other things as well as also screenshots to also show you guys a few other things as well. Okay, thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the interview, and I'll see you guys at the end. Let's get it. Right. So, if you could tell me or tell us all, okay, is it true? So on the show, what happened was that it was said that Chidi did not tell you about him not wanting to be intimate with you until you got to Nigeria. But when that came out, him and his sister came out on social media, and then they said that it's not true and that you already knew before you got to Nigeria that he wasn't going to touch you. So can you let us know about that, please?
That is definitely untrue. He may have told the producers, but no, as for me, he led me on till the very end. Like, even like he's a guy, he's from another country, he can't see. So what's he gonna do, either for money or for love? What's he gonna do to try to keep this white girl hooked? He's gonna try to use, like sexual flirtation all the time. Like, the guy used to call 24 hours a day, no matter what time it was, I answered. And he was always flirtatious all the way up until the very end. So that's why, like, when he was getting ready to tell me he wasn't going to sleep with me, I got that. But it's like, it hurt because it's like, seriously, like, you won't even drag your mat in here. It's like, there's no connection at all. You know what I mean? And no, he definitely didn't tell me. So you could definitely see the heartbreak.
Yeah, because I remember at the time when that came out, I remember making a video about it, and I remember calling it out that obviously he had misled you before you'd obviously arrived to Nigeria, and then obviously when his sister came out and said it, I then called them out for saying, because what I said at the time in my video was that, well, you can't tell us that you agreed to say this on the show, but then you're not telling us that this is what really happened, because then that doesn't make sense, because basically you're shooting yourself in the foot. And when I called them out for it at the time, they ended up then deleting the post up in particular. But also what was said was that throughout the 5 years before you arrived in Nigeria, there was a time when you two had a break, and then he said you was basically begging him to come on the show with you. What's your thoughts on that, please?
Okay, for the first 3 years, we talked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no matter what time. And then we got to the point where it was like, like daily, like it's daily or monthly, weekly, whatever, but it wasn't like all day, every day, no matter what. We kind of got to the point where we were like, okay, we both don't have money. Like, the odds of seeing each other are slim. But I kind of knew deep down that I don't know if it was going to be on this life or the next that I would meet him. So I kind of just held the hope, and I told him, if I ever meet somebody, I'll tell you. If you ever do, so that way in the future, if we ever connect, we at least know, like, that person's moved on, that person's married. Like, I gave him that. But when I went up, I didn't even know until I had found out later that he actually had a girlfriend. So that's why he took me to an entirely different town over like an hour and 45 minutes away. So he admitted it that he had a girlfriend. And then I was just playing with him and, making fun of him. I was like, well, obviously your personality sucks or your sex, because even she couldn't tolerate you. But this was during like the stay, because like when the sister or production turned around, he was all over me, even sexual in the room, like coming up onto you the way a guy would when he's kissing you, rubbing up his junk on you, like grabbing you. And I was so shy that I kind of pushed away and I said, I know you can't see. I said, but I'm covering my face. Like, I'm so shy. And if it was going to be, it wouldn't be here at the sister's house, and it definitely wouldn't be now. I want to see your actions. And if you really do love me, I'm not touching you. And I took a shower, right? And I really wanted to spend that time with him without the sister. So I asked him if he would hang out in the shower room. And he said no at first, but then I was like, seriously, I was like, I can promise you this. I said, I'm not going to touch you. You could just stand there. I said, I just want to talk to you. So little by little, he goes around the corner, kind of peeks around, comes around the wall, and little by little, he scoots all the way to the shower and sits there. I was like, that was the only 20 minutes that I got with that guy.
Damn. So from your whole time in Nigeria, how long do you think you had with him, just you two? Because obviously on the show we saw it was always him, you, and his sister in every single scene. It was I think there was maybe about one or two scenes where it was just you two, but usually in those scenes, that's when you two were arguing about something, right? So the whole time he was there, how much time would you say that you had when it was just you two alone? That's it.
The only time I had alone with him with just the two of us was, like I said, the 20 minutes that I was in the shower. And then maybe like the 20-minute walk that we were going when we were looking at the monkeys. But that wasn't even alone, because you had, the cameras on you above, and then you had the recording. So, he's going to keep it minimal. He said, this is what I want in life. I want to marry you. This is what I want. I'm happy with you. And I don't know if they showed all that, but he definitely said all that on the walk.
Okay.
So we were getting along wonderfully.
Interesting. So, I mean, okay, so just to go back a second, there was a scene when they take you out for shopping, and then obviously you come across the chickens, and then obviously in that scene you then refused to allow them to buy the chicken. What actually went down there? Because obviously when that scene happened, after it happened on the internet, people were thinking, well, you're being a bit contradictory because you have chickens of your own, blah 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 blah. So what actually went down with that scene there? What put you in that position to be like, no, you can't buy chickens. I don't want you to slaughter them, blah 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 blah.
Well, Chidi has known me for 5 years, and he tells his family everything about me. And the number one thing people know about me is I can't stand death. I don't like blood. I'm already a monster for eating the damn meat. I rebuke being a human in this way all the time. I don't want anything to do with the killing or the blood or anything having to do with that. Like, I like animals. So the fact that I was up there, and on my first day in Nigeria, I am set up. I'm sitting right in the back of this car, and I'm watching everyone set it up. I could see the chickens. And I could see that there's going to be a little slaughter scene. But I sit there patiently waiting, thinking maybe production's doing this because they're showing like what an ass they are. Like, how can you invite this girl and do this to her? So I let it happen. So I sat there and I went with it. And then it wasn't until like the 9th time of telling the sister, no, we're not going to kill chickens, over and over. And then on that final scene, when they finally push her to come up to me and say, something about the chicken, I don't remember what. I was like, let the chicken live, because for God's sakes, how many times are you gonna push me? Like, this is my first day and you guys are seriously doing something that you knew dang well I didn't want. Like, he's known me for 5 years. He knows I don't like onion. The first meal he makes is onions. He knows that I don't like hot stuff. That's the number one thing. I like my chili like grass. The first thing they do is cook me up. She goes and buys up a meal that's extremely hot. Could be coincidence, yeah, but I kept my mouth shut. I was pleasant the whole time. I ate it. I agreed. Like, I was just real good,
No, I completely get that. I mean, so when it came to your relationship with his sister, why do you think that your relationship with his sister was so challenging,
I don't know. The sister acted like she was more of like a jealous wife. Like, I don't know, the dirty looks that she was giving consistently, the way that she wouldn't let him get off the phone, like talk on the phone without three-way. Like, I knew this because you could hear her answering everything. She was always on three-way. Like, even one time he called me at the hotel and he said, babe, what did you put on? I swear, I just put on the lingerie that I just bought. And I was like, oh, coincidentally, now that you asked. And all of a sudden the husband goes, Chidi, get off the phone now, come. And he goes, yes sir, I'm coming. And he goes, babe, I'll call you right back. And then I said, okay, I knew it wasn't true. He calls back literally like 2 hours later, which was 9 o'clock, just to say, I just called to say goodnight. And although that wasn't him,
That's
I know how
crazy.
Chidi is, but he was so guarded. And what makes me mad now is that he's not standing up for the truth now.
When
I
you
don't care if your family has helped you all along. I was willing to do everything for you, and this is the payment I get in return. Like, not even as a friendship to say, you know what, guys, she wasn't all that bad. She actually arrived with like 25 gifts. She was amazing. She left the house on the second day because we kicked her ass out. You know,
yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it's interesting
I
because
was kicked out of the house.
I mean, obviously, I didn't even know that even happened. But just let's just go back to the 25 gifts. So you arrived with 25 gifts, something that we didn't see, but we saw that on the last. I think it was if you, the last episode we saw you on when you two break up. He obviously turns up with gifts for you. How did that make you feel?
That hurt me because I don't know if they showed it. He was talking to me, like sending me back to my own country. Like, now you're off going back to your own country. I brought you some gifts. The way he was saying it was very like hurtful. And so I opened up, I don't know if they showed it, but I opened up all the gifts. I said, thank you. I noticed that he didn't get a gift for my daughter, so I didn't mention it. You know what I mean? So I come home and I took off. I mean, just as I arrived at the airport, I took off the necklace that he had given me and I put it right on my daughter's neck, you know?
Damn.
But
I mean,
also, but he gave me the gifts because he also thought that the producers were going to show in the beginning. When I first arrived, I literally gave the family literally about 25 gifts. All of them got gifts, including a sentimental little Cabbage Patch doll for the baby.
oh right. So you're saying that you think the only reason why he bought you gifts in the first place was purely because where you bought him gifts, he thought, okay, because they're maybe going to show you doing it, they need to show him
Mhm.
doing it too.
Yeah, and then throughout the time I was there, I gave perfumes, I gave the sister bracelets, jewelry. Like, I went out and I bought him 2 brand new pairs of shoes. I brought him some soaps, deodorants, because he really needed it at that time. So I gave it to him. And then, no, I was willing to help him with hygiene and everything, but no, he went out and had his sister help him with everything. And it was hurtful because even on the 2 days off that we had, he always knew that I wanted to go shopping with him and pick his clothes and hang out with him and just have fun. But the only thing he did was go hang out with the sister and
Okay.
the husband. Like, we never went shopping. We didn't get to have fun. Nothing.
Damn, that's that sounds like a terrible trip to be honest
I
with you.
went all the way over there. Nothing.
So okay, so I know in some of the scenes when everything's got heated between you and Chidi or you and Chidi and his family, you was very expressive with the way you spoke. So obviously your voice would obviously become quite projected as pretty much shouting, right? And also you'd use a lot of your hands. Can you explain
Mhm.
what got you to the point where you felt like when you was talking, you had to start really shouting to get your point across so much that even your hands had to get involved in too? Like, can you explain like is that yeah, just explain that for me, please.
You mean on a specific scene or in general?
Yeah, I'm just saying. So, like, is it generally? Okay, okay, no, okay. Let me change the question. Let me give you a situation. So, there was a time before. I don't know what scene was in particular, but there's a video that I made, and I sat there and I said to my audience at the time that it doesn't make sense that that you were always that easily triggered to start shouting and start using your hands as you was talking. So therefore, clearly
Mhm.
something must have happened prior to this scene being showed that it obviously triggered you to talk in a way that was quite intense. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, were there any scenes that maybe things happened that really triggered you to then end up becoming quite intense? So therefore, when you spoke, you shouted as well as using your hands, or is that just a part of who you are? If that makes any sense.
I think a lot of it got pretty loud because the producers kind of amped everything up and filmed for a good little while, making me talk about the same crap for every time those cameras turned on. It was talk about the same subject. So
Okay.
eventually it's like, Chitty, can you jump off of here and like help me surprise everyone and let's both go off script? So a lot of that came out of, and then like I talk a lot with my hands. I'm very expressive. So I'm like, I don't care if you're blind or not. If you don't want my finger like pointing at you, then don't be lying and hurting somebody to this degree, because every time the cameras turned off or the sister turned around, he was husband material. He was all over you, talking to you, wanting you, and then the cameras turned on and a whole different guy got in the picture. So it was
Okay.
like more of like, how many times do we have to talk like this? And the producers would just sit there over and over, and it's the same thing.
I see what you mean. So basically what's happened is that they have basically worn you out to the point where now it's just becoming frustrating. So of course, because and on top of Chidi lying to you and
Tell them how you
also
want to go to the hotel. Tell them if you want to go to the hotel. Tell them to come to the hotel. Tell them you want to.
yeah. No, I see what you mean. So obviously it got you frustrated. But would you does any part of you regret maybe shouting and coming across the way you did, or it doesn't really matter to you?
I don't regret shouting and coming across the way that I did, because I know how I behaved in person, but I regret ever trusting the producers and them to the degree that I did, because I never thought they would do me that dirty. Like, you
Okay.
set somebody up, you get them amped up, you get them heated, and then you make them look like the villain. Are you kidding me? You're the villain.
No, I see what you
I
mean.
spent my everything. Like, I mean, like, I spent everything on this trip. Like, I paid for everything. The only thing they pay for is the taxi ride to make sure that you get there, and some food when you're with them.
Is this the producer you're talking about in terms of the fees?
Yes, I paid for everything except for the taxi ride and the food.
Okay.
So it's like between paying for everything, and then you go over there and you get mentally and verbally abused. But these producers are acting like they're your best friend. Trust us, we're on your side. They kept saying we're on the person in the U.S. side. You know, so you start to
Yeah, no, I completely get that. I mean, so just talking about finances itself in particular, did Chidi ever portray himself or his family? Did they ever portray himself as if they were poor, as if like they didn't have much money, or like, yeah, if that makes sense.
No, they never acted like, no, he actually acted like he was never without. Like, it seemed like they were pretty good and well off, to be honest. Like, they were never struggling. But
Okay.
the producers had also told me that he had acted the whole time like, I sorry, did you guys know that he was going to behave like this? Did you know that he was going to say this? And they said absolutely not. He told them the same thing, that he wanted to marry me and that he was in love and that I was the soulmate.
Interesting. So at
I was
what?
all, yeah. So, and then when we were up there, the producers actually got angry because he lied to them too, like about how he went blind. He never told me how he fully went blind until that very moment when everybody else heard it.
Oh, is that the story about the fruit that fell on his head or something like that?
Yeah, there's the apple there, that one. But then that's the only story he stuck with. But then I talked to his cousin, and he told me that he went blind spiritually. Of course, you know, it's
Okay.
obvious. You're blind with an apple. There's the apple reference, and then you fall and you
Yeah.
slam your other eye on the corner. Come on,
Yeah.
you're
No.
cursed.
No, I completely get that. To be fair, talking about the blindness now, there was a scene where you two go and see a doctor, I believe, and obviously in that scene, it's clear that the doctor tells him that he'll never be able to see again. Can you speak about that as well, please?
Oh man, I was crying. I was really crying. Like, I was holding his leg, and when they told me that, I couldn't even help but cry.
Mm,
But I kind of expected it, because you could see it in his eyes that it's deteriorating. You know what I mean?
okay.
And I already knew, because he had told me before that he had already, and then he told them too that he had already seen professionals. So they told him 10 years ago that he was never going to see again. And for every headache he gets, it makes his eyes worse and worse, the pressure.
See, that's quite interesting because obviously, the reason I asked the question regarding the finances as well as also him seeing the doctors because, as you may or may not know now, he's now got a GoFundMe, right? And in the GoFundMe, it's all about helping restore his eyesight as well as him having this Chidi Light Foundation empowerment. I mean, first question is, did you ever know anything about this Chidi Light empowerment thing? Did you ever speak about that the whole time you knew him?
No, I thought it was just something he opened, but honest to God, I mean, I don't, did he open it now or?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. Based on my research, it looked as if based on the research and the data that I came across, he had opened it. I think about a week or two before he then made a GoFundMe regarding his
Oh, okay,
eyesight.
yeah, no,
Do you see what I'm
I didn't
saying?
know anything. I don't look those people up.
No, that's fine. So regarding the GoFundMe stuff in particular, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's a genuine one, or do you think it's a money grab? What are your thoughts?
He's not the best at lying, and
Mm-hmm.
not the, you know what I mean? Like, he's not good at covering up anything. So he's just, okay, he's basically scamming the world to your face, and then he can't even see it himself. You know what I mean? Like, he
Mm.
knows dang well that he's scamming you, but he's hoping that all of you are ignorant. Like, when everyone started saying she's psychotic, she's gonna sacrifice the chickens, then that's when he picked up, she was gonna sacrifice me too. And so he starts running with the crowd. And now that he sees that the crowd's against me, and he knew that I was gonna call him a scammer, so the first thing he does is set up, like, let's get as much as we can before the truth comes out.
Okay, now that makes sense. Because to be
How
fair,
much you want to make a bet after the truth comes out, he'll start to die down.
I mean, to be fair, I think he's already started to die down now because I haven't really seen him being that active as of late, to be fair with you. And I think, to be fair, I know since the GoFundMe has been made, he has received a lot of backlash. I mean, one from me, myself in particular, I definitely called him out in it. And I know he recently made a video talking about how, about how he's not scamming anyone and all this is genuine.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. No, listen,
He's definitely scamming. He cannot have his eyes fixed. If anything, he could say, you know what, guys, I really want to go to the US because that's what his goal was. I really want to go to the US. I don't have money. My family wants to come. Could you donate? Don't use your eyesight. That makes me mad. Don't tell people that there's hope when there's no hope. And of anybody in the world to give bionic eyes to, Stevie Wonders or anybody else, don't you think it would have been them?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. That's why for me personally,
why would it be a scammer that's hurt somebody that's loved you and dedicated everything to you for the last 5 years? 5.5.
No, I get it. I get it. Yeah. I mean, look, listen. End of the day, that's why I've been surprised that they actually went. I mean, I've been more surprised that there are people that do believe that there's a chance of him getting his eyesight back. But end of the day, it is clear that that's never going to happen. But
no, they're gone.
So just to move on to another topic here. One other question, shall I say? So there was rumors about how you had been fired from the show, and also that you wasn't allowed to attend the what do you call it, the tell-all. Can you shed light on both of those, please?
Yeah, no, I was playing with everybody because everybody and the way they were acting and like acting towards me and their negative thoughts. I was like, y'all got me fired. Look what your negativity did. I was playing like that, but if you fight, when I talk a lot. So there's going to be multiple threads. So you can't just read one. If you're going to keep up with me, you got to keep up,
Yeah, I understand.
But
no, I understand. No. I was going to ask you a question regarding the boundaries that Chidi had when you was there, but given the fact that
there was none. He let me grab him. He let me touch him. He let me do whatever I wanted if I wanted.
It was just only when you was on camera, he'd be a completely different person.
But yeah, well, I don't understand it because even on camera, they got us walking and he was talking about marriage and everything was right, except for like the little bit of fights. Like when he would say stupid things like, oh, you just want to marry, you're jealous of my brother's wife. And are you kidding me? Because there was a time where like when we first met, he used to tell me over and over that his brother was going to come first. You know what I mean? This is before I knew it was a scam. His brother was going to come first. And of course he's blind. Make sure that everything was okay. Check it out. And then he would come when the schooling was done. So I had all this patience and then this schooling would end and then another school would start. So there I was with more patience, but I actually set up a room, a bedroom, everything waiting for this brother to come. And I told this brother, if you're going to come all the way to the US, do not get involved with any females because that's heartbreaking for you to leave the country. And he was so agreeable, of course, years passed. And all of a sudden I open up Facebook and the guy's married and the girl's pregnant. And I'm like Chidi, so now I'm all live. Now he's bringing this nonsense up on the camera so that I can fight.
Oh wait, sorry. Can you repeat that because your signal went a little bit there? It kind of went a bit blank.
Repeat which part?
I couldn't hear because your signal was going. So I think I said whatever you said in the last 2 minutes.
Oh, the brother part?
Yes, please. That's that bit there.
Okay, when we first met, his brother was very much involved. He said that him and his brother slept in the same bed. So all of my conversations were heard by him, right?
Yeah.
And so the goal was to bring the brother forward first, make sure everything was okay, and so that he could bring Chidi in when Chidi was done with schooling. So I waited, whatever, and then this schooling passed. And I used to tell things to the brother like, don't get involved with a woman in the Nigeria if you're planning on coming to the US because that's heartbreaking. You don't lead women on and then leave them. Mm-hmm. And he, of course, agreed or whatever. And then one day I opened Facebook and there's a picture of the brother married with the wife and she's pregnant. And I was like, fine. Oh, my gosh. I was like, so this whole time I'm talking to these people and they're lying to my face. And every now and then when I was talking on the phone, I could hear a girl giggling in the background. So I guess the girl the whole time was the brother's wife. So it's like the whole family like took part in playing with me. And Chidi used to tell me things like, my family and I were all laughing at you at dinner. And I was all, why? He's all, because they were wondering how this white girl could like somebody blind in another country. I was like, I guess the joke still stood because they never got over it.
Okay.
But he told me, okay, so now that the whole brother with the issue with the brother came up, and now I'm angry because I've just discovered the picture. He's saying that I'm jealous of the brother's wife. So now, 5 years later, I'm in Nigeria and he's sitting there saying I'm jealous of the brother's wife and fighting with me on camera, which they didn't show. And then so you get a lot of like, are you serious? Are you insane? Or whatever you guys saw.
That's
So he was definitely fighting with me. Like the sister got in my face out of nowhere, and she's all, when we were fighting, so you said you were gonna kill me if I didn't have kids, and I stood up and I said, "What the heck did you just say, you psycho?" And that's when I started yelling at him to defend me. I was all, Chidi, you know I didn't say this, and I was all, stand up for me. But no, she was fighting with me the whole time. When someone mentioned that she was standing there all innocent holding the baby, and I'm like, no, the baby wasn't even in the room. She was in the back being babysat. So I don't know what part that was. They were expecting a fight. They're not going to let her have the baby in the room.
No, that's true.
You know,
which also reminds me. I think there was a time on your threads that you said that his sister had hit you. Can you tell us about that, please?
Okay, so that night when I say got kicked out of the house, see, okay, we were having that little talk where I was sitting on a little brick wall. And I asked him if he wanted to come back to the room, and this was on the second night, and he said no. So then I kind of went back, and as we were walking back to his house, I was crying. Well, he didn't give a damn that I was crying. He could hear me and he could tell. And as we got to the front, the producer touched my shoulder and he said, Chidi, is it okay if we take Rayne out for dinner? And then he says, sure, sir. And then he takes off with his stepbrother and they walk up. He doesn't even say bye. So there I go off to the restaurant. Okay, we come back that same night. And now we knock. Silence. We knock again. Opens up by itself because we knocked a little bit harder. So now the door opens by itself. The house is silent. We walk in there. The sister's hiding in the kitchen with the baby, trying to go around the corner. Chidi's in his bedroom playing dead. And then the husband's locked himself in the back bedroom with the little boy. So it's silent. So I go into Chidi's room. The producer goes and talks to the sister. And I'm like, Chidi. And I tried talking. I said, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting like this? Like he was playing dead. He would not answer. He would not talk. He just played dead. So I said, if you're going to act like this, I said, obviously I have no choice. I don't know what happened. I said, but I have no choice but to go. So I went in the room and started packing. And then the sister caught me in the hallway and I was trying to find some lights because there's no lights. And I kept turning on everything else. And then that's when she said, why do you do this to me? And then she turned around, she had the baby and she hit me hard because I was trying to get the lights and she hit me hard. Her little short ass on the rib cage with her elbow. And then I turned around and I said, you went, oh. And I told the producer, I was like, you know what? I said, I'm going for sure. I said, she just hit me. And so they went in, got excited, got everything in. You know, by that point, she's still yelling something. Now she's screaming, fighting, and crying, and talking nonsense. And then they have her leave. And then calm down. Of course, the babysitter watches the baby. She comes back in. And that's where it comes again, because then she starts, like I said, she got in my face and said, you said you were going to kill me if I didn't have kids. Like she just started saying nonsense. So,
that's
but I thought they were going to show all that.
No, I mean, I think obviously with production, they only show what narrative that they want to show, and I think they wasn't willing to show a narrative that I guess made you look good. They only wanted to show one that would obviously make you look bad because sadly.
That's why I didn't care if I was yelling. I was in the right, you know.
No, I get it. I completely get that. You know, end of the day, you're only going to react to the situation, aren't you now? So here's the thing. On the show, I think it was either, I don't know if it was the last episode or the episode before that, you spoke about your exes and you spoke about, I think this is when you was at the beach with Chidi and you spoke about how they had been on substance abuse in the past or something like that. After that episode came out, oh, hello, are you still there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, sorry, it sounds like he vibrating, sorry. So after the episode came out, it was then one of your alleged exes, somebody who came out who stayed anonymous. He said that what you said was basically a lie, and the only reason why your marriage went downhill was due to your own mental health. What's your thoughts on that?
I was never married.
Oh, interesting. There we go.
I was never married, and I got with him when we were both young. He was 18, right? Yeah. He was a drug dealer. He sold cocaine for a living. Mm-hmm. But and then between that and the smoking and doing a little bit of cocaine, I kind of got him out of it. Like he fell in love with me enough to stop the smoking and the drugs. But then his grandpa worked for a concrete company. So he started doing more and more drugs. Those guys that they typically do a lot of cocaine. Mm-hmm. So he started doing more and more drugs. And eventually now it's like I put up with it because you get to a point where you start to settle and you realize this is what it is. He wasn't physically abusive. Thank God, or I would have knocked his teeth out. But he was definitely mentally abusive, you know? Like he would just call you like a mean name or he would never say anything nice. Like he was just there. He was kind of like a basic roommate. Like we got along, but we didn't fight, you know? But then eventually over time passed, his drug use got so bad, and eventually he turned to like heroin. Like he started doing so much drugs that he started snorting everything. I mean, buying cough syrups off the shelves, everything. And then like he come home at 5, 6, and his eyes were already in the back of his head. But before, his eyes wouldn't roll back till about 8 or so. So now I don't even have 2 hours when he got home to hang out with him. And then it was just like very blah. Like we didn't even go to bed at the same time. Like he didn't go to bed till 3 a.m. I go to bed way sooner, and eventually it's just like I'm fed up and I'm bored. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He does no, I don't do drugs, and it's just I can't even like I don't mind if someone does drugs. I guess as long as they can control it. Like we weren't suffering, right? But the thing is like I said, is his behavior. Then he left me and he got with another girl, and he was like so changed. Like he would laugh and he would tell me, "Yeah, I kicked the chair out from under that bitch." Like he started actually being physical with the other girl. So he went out and got married with her.
I'm assuming you're not in contact with him anymore.
Oh no, I haven't talked to him literally in like 7, 8 years.
Oh, okay. So
I don't even want him involved. Like he's okay, like he's so shy that when my mom used to come over, he would get like whatever he was gonna eat and hide away for the day. Or like if we went camping, he'd put his chair off to the side and kind of hide away or go do something. Like he was very, very, very shy. So I don't want people to be dragging him into it, because this is like, just because they portrayed me bad doesn't mean everybody else around me was miserable. I say he was toxic because of the crap that he put me through. Like he would call names here and there, or you know what I mean, or the way he behaved. But no.
No, I completely get that.
And that's the only ex that I have that's surviving. The other one's dead.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
So sorry. So let's say things had gone to plan with you and Chidi, right? And he had then made it to America. What would have been the plan then? Like, I mean, like what was your ideal ending for you two together, if that makes sense?
Oh, you mean like if I went over there and we got married and anything?
Yeah. And then obviously came
Oh,
over.
I wasn't planning on leaving his country until I knew that everything was set. Like I was shocked. I thought he had a plan to like run away with me and hide even from producers, you know?
Yeah.
But my plan was to never go to Nigeria. That's why I was laughing and I was saying, I know nothing. And I was like, because I didn't have ever the plans to go to Nigeria. The plan was to bring him here. This was an unexpected surprise, you know?
Oh, okay.
But when I did go, I was like, here, I'm gonna get the paperwork settled. I'm gonna bring him, and this is it. This is it. So that's why you saw more anger, is because like you led me this far. Like oh my God, like I can't believe you. And this isn't even him. I said, if his family, you know, jumped off a cliff altogether or something, all of a sudden he was left alone, you would find himself talking different. Oh. But because of the way the people are treating me now, it made him treat me worse.
Oh, do you mean like the audience of the show, because of how they're treating you?
Well,
now?
There's a lot of people calling me a colonist, and that they're glad that he ran away from me and that I'm insane and all this other stupid nonsense. You know?
I mean, okay, so based on the experience that you went through, obviously being on the show with him, and obviously how things were portrayed and all that kind of stuff, if there's anything that you could have changed, what would it have been?
I wouldn't have gone if I'd have known.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. I completely get that. So just to clarify, I think I asked this earlier, but I don't think you answered this specific question. But are you going to be a part of the tell-all or no?
No, I'm not a part of the tell-all. The reason is because I told them absolutely not, because he was planning on taking, I guess, his friend and probably the brother, and I know for sure the sister, to go like fight with me on the tell-all. I was like, I just wanted him, but they didn't want that. They wanted the drama. So I said, absolutely not. I'm not going. And then they called me and then they said, I know you had mentioned that you aren't going. And then they wanted to know what I had thought. And then I said no. And then I started crying. And then I started talking about like, you know, how people are. And now I'm not going to get anywhere. And it's not just going to be him. And then she said, yeah, it's probably be better for the best then. And so it ended up like that. And it's messed up. It's because I didn't get to tell my side, because if I did, I'd have to go and fight with him. Like I just wanted him to be there, so that way I can confront him.
When you say you wanted to tell your side, what is it that you wanted to tell, please?
Well, I wanted to confront him and tell and like basically we have him weed out the truth. But if I did that, then it would bring out the what do you call it? How bad the producers got involved. How deeply the producers really got involved. It would show how deeply the producers really got involved.
Okay. So I mean, like, what questions would you have asked him?
Questions. Why, like, even when it comes to now, is why are you allowing the world to lie and harass me? To lie
Mm.
about me and harass me when you yourself know the truth.
No, I
You
completely
know,
get
why
that.
can't you say the truth? Why can't, like right now, you call yourself a Christian, and then why are you deceiving the world? People say that he's online talking and telling things. Well, why isn't he telling the truth about what really happened? Like, they kicked me out of their house on the second night. And then everyone wants to believe that the sister's a saint that invited me over with all her love. That's why when I came through the door, I knew she didn't like me. When I came through the door, I looked at her like, oh, really? You're gonna, oh, okay, we're gonna play love for the camera. You know?
Yeah. So,
And they paid her a lot of money to get me in there. And they had to do a lot of convincing to her and myself to get me in that house.
wow, wow. And then obviously the show
I
then
didn't want
came
to go
out.
to the house. I was not going to go to the house. I was going to go straight to the hotel, but they insisted. They
So,
said just a couple days.
so what actually made you want to appear on the show? Like, what convinced you to actually be a part of this of 90 Day franchise?
Because I came across Angela and Michael, and I was like, ooh, this team can help me get across the world to my true love. I did. I was like, look, they helped her. I didn't know that I had to pay for everything.
No, I know
So
that.
I contacted them, and they got excited with the story.
Oh, fair enough. No, it makes sense. I'm not surprised that they got happy with the story. I mean, do you know if you ever be a part of the 90 Day franchise ever again, or is this like the end of the story for you?
I believe I could be a part of the 90-day franchise because I know how to play the game. So this time I'm in charge, you know?
Okay, so obviously, just to clarify, so obviously you haven't been fired, so the door is still open for you to be a part of 90 Day, if the opportunity ever came.
That I don't know if I'm fired. They haven't told me I'm fired or not. So yeah.
No, no, I was only saying it because obviously that's what people thought at the time. But I know earlier on you confirmed that you wasn't
No,
fired.
I'm
You
not
just said,
fired. No one's
yeah,
told me I'm fired. Are you kidding me? I'm
yeah.
TV Gold. I'm not fired. And the more that people don't want to see me, the more I want to end up on every channel too.
No,
Oh
I
yeah.
completely get it. I completely get it. I mean, for me personally, obviously, I've said it on other people's pages that personally, for me, I felt like it would be good to see you on another season personally because, despite the fact that you was a lot on TV, but you already know that you're a lot of, that you can be a lot. I'll be lying if I said it wasn't entertaining. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. There was definitely times when it looked a bit uncomfortable, but especially when you was getting your hands involved and all that kind of stuff,
Oh,
But
I could look a bit much. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? So even though that was a bit either way, I was like, but then generally everything else, I was like, listen, man, I would happily have you for another season rather than have some of the people that they continue to recast who have no personality at all. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, and I'm not really mean. You know what I mean? I just had to put him in his place, but it may have looked like that. But
yeah, I mean, so I don't know if I've asked this already, but would you say is there anything that you've learned from this experience of one being on the show as well as also just the experience you went through with Chidi as well? Is there anything that you've learned?
I definitely learned that people are more negative than I had ever imagined and unevolved.
Damn. Anything else?
That's a bit much, but it's the truth.
No, listen. I mean, it's your
Learn. I
truth.
learned. Like I said, I can't trust anyone now. Like even like production, I never knew that a professional production team can twist and destroy somebody's lives and be able to back themselves up and say, okay, like my mom says, like, how can they destroy someone's life and then offer you a what do you call it, a counselor at the end of it all? Are you kidding me?
No, I get it. I get it. It's not nice because obviously, to cast people knowing that you're gonna mess up their lives and then to have the audacity to obviously provide them a counselor, that is nasty work right
But you
there,
know
to be
what's
honest.
even worse is that, like I said, if you talk to Chidi, he not now, but before, he would have definitely had told you that he felt the same way, that we were soulmates. So between that jealous sister and production, they definitely messed up a big dream, something good. Because I was like, I don't care if he came running back to me in this life. I will never give him the time of day because of the disrespect that he's given me. Now, do I believe that I will see him in the next life? Probably.
Hmm.
But in this life, no, absolutely not, you know?
No, I completely get it. End of the day, you got to have your own standards. You got to have your own boundaries, and the main thing is that you've learned that you and Chidi are just not meant for each other. And hopefully, moving forward, something else is going to happen in your life that's going to be a bit more positive.
Oh yeah. It sure will come. I'm not a bad person, and I'm real friendly to everyone, so it'll come.
So when it came to the relationship that you had with his sister, it was clear by the end of the season that you felt strongly that the reason why your relationship with Chidi didn't work was because of his sister. Um, can you touch on that, please?
Well, before my arrival, there was very few conversations that Chidi and I had alone. Most of the time, it was three-way with the sister. And I didn't have a problem with that. I just thought, maybe she's concerned. She wanted to get to know me for him. So whatever. So I just let it slide. And then I got up there, and there had been times where I would send the sister, really sweet quotes or some messages like regarding like how much I love her brother, because he can't see these things. So I'd send them to her. And then I'd ask him, oh, did your sister show you this? Or did your sister tell you that? And I noticed he'd be no or no. So I noticed little by little that, okay, there's an issue here because she obviously don't like me, but whatever. So now I get up there and she welcomes me in, but I kind of knew that there was going to be an issue. Like I could feel it. Like it was just a strong feeling. And then when we first drove up to the house, she looks out the window, very kind of hateful, sees me sit in the car and then waves. So I look up and I wave back at her. We go in the house, we say our hello and stuff. And um, but that first night, I noticed that when I was hanging out with Chidi, she wouldn't stop coming in the room every 15, 20 minutes at max. Chidi, are you okay? Do you need anything? So I didn't get any time with him alone. And then all hours of the night, she would send the husband in, supposedly to check on the generator. But then I'd hear him coming in. So I'd peek up and I'd look up, and every time he would just act like he's walking straight, and he would glance and look at me and then just keep walking. And then after the second day, on the third day, when I was finally kicked out of her house, I went to the hotel, and I would again send her messages or little videos and talk about the pain. I was crying my butt off. And again, I would say, did your sister tell you? And he would say no. And then there was a time too when he really, really wanted me to return. I was at the hotel the whole time, but he really wanted me to return back to the house 3 different times. And one of the times I remember I was sitting in the car and I was like, I brought my stuff to stay with you. And he was so excited. He went in there and he started talking to the sister because we were filming nearby. So he went in, and that's when I did, I think, the sweeping video. And he went in and talked to her for about 45 minutes. And that happened like 3 different times where he got on the phone or tried to convince her to let me stay at her house 3 different times. And each time she says no. Or one time we were at the house getting ready to leave and I was pulling him. This was in the beginning, and I was pulling him into the taxi, and I was telling him that I wanted him to go with me to the hotel and that we were going to get some things, and I was going to come right back, because she didn't want me to come right back. She just wanted me to go. And I had him in the taxi, and she actually pulls him out of the taxi, looks at him, looks at me, and says, I promise you that I will take him over the next day personally. We will take him over so that he can hang out with you all day. And I knew it was false. But then on the other end, the taxi driver called the producer and he said, hey, Chidi's trying to get in the car. And the producers actually said, if he gets in the car, don't move it. So I was so desperate. I was trying to call other taxis and everything. But then, like I said, the sister dragged him out. She wouldn't let it happen. So I had no choice but to go. But the whole trip I was there, she would not let us connect. Not even talk. Like there was times where I was in the evening trying to talk to him and he would say, what did you put on? And I said, oh, now that you're asking, I was about to tell him. And then the husband says, Chidi, get off the phone. Come now. I think I told you that.
Yeah, I remember there was little bits of those that you did touch on earlier on in the video, but there's other things that you didn't touch on. So yeah, no, I understand. So overall, you felt like when it came to your relationship ending and it not working was mostly because of his sister, but because
when I was at the when I was at the hotel, I was crying. Like I compared to the pain on my girl on that scene when she was saying, where are his glasses, when she was crying, because not even the family noticed what he needed, but I did. So I was crying my butt off and expressing myself to her. And no matter what I said or sent to her the whole time I was there, she bypassed me and just rolled her eyes. And that is what made it so hurtful. It's like, how dare you intrude to the degree that you did and not even have any damn remorse? And literally, because I say it's because I'm white, they all ask me, what is your reason as to why you think the sister hates you? I'm not even gonna lie. It's because I'm white. Because in the very beginning too, when we started talking about her, he started saying, like he was very hesitant, and it took him about maybe 10 minutes solid after stuttering to say, why couldn't you have been born black? And then he started talking about some tribe or something. I'm like, that's the only reason I could think of, because I never did anything mean to her or said anything mean to her for her to hate me or not like me to the degree that she did,
That is
I showed up with gifts, love, support, everything, and they sent me home on my second day crying my butt off and just there enough to play for film, and that's it.
that is nasty work. Nasty freaking work. The only other thing that I believe I've got to ask you is regarding production itself in particular. What do you feel like they could have done better to make your experience with being on the show a whole lot better?
I wish production would have stayed out of my business and let us talk, because the production never, ever, ever let us talk about our relationship. The only time they let us do that was when we were on the beach. And that's when I was yelling at him because I was like, now's our chance. Let's go for a walk. Do you see the boats? I was like, Chidi, come on. It's me. Like, wake up. This is my last day. Like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
But they wouldn't let me talk to him at all. Like, if we were eating lunch or anything, what are you talking about? You better not be talking about your relationship. You could talk about the food or whatever. So never did I get to talk to Chidi about my relationship. And one day after the doctor's eye appointment, when they were doing their paperwork, I had him outside and I started talking and saying everything that I needed to. And one of the producers comes in, literally like 90 miles, her little feet can take her out the door to go find him and I. And right away she found us and she goes, I got him. I got him. You guys aren't supposed to be talking.
It sounds to me as if the production, as well as his sister, played a big role in terms of how your relationship ended up turning out. And also, I think also Chidi also having two different personalities, with the fact that when he was on camera compared to off camera, he was obviously two different people based on what you've said today as well. Uh, that's absolutely crazy itself alone, to be honest with you. But hey, I mean, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we finish off the video, please?
No, other than to say that I did not send any videos to somebody who's blind, because I clearly wasn't getting along with the sister and she would have been the one viewing the videos, which is nasty to me. So I would not have sent the videos.
Oh yes,
And in
really.
fact, it could have been even worse, because production actually wanted me to play with myself and talk about how I didn't need him.
What do you mean, like on camera?
Yes, they give us a camera, right, to keep a cell phone to
Yeah.
record everything in the evenings and everything when they're not around. And they kind of set it up, so I kind of felt obligated to do this, and I didn't know it was going to be portrayed in that way, but I kind of did this cute little thing, like, look what I just got. Mind you, this is 4 days into my trip. I just bought this cute little outfit, like I still had hope, you know what I mean? And I hope Chidi gets to feel it, and blah blah blah.
Okay, so you had initially bought the outfit and made the video like literally within 4 days of you being there.
Did they show me buying it in the market?
I can't remember, but I do know that they did only show that video at the end of the season. Do you see what I'm saying? I think it was like maybe like the third episode before you guys were taken
They
off the
set
show.
me up. They went up to the market ahead of time, put it up there, had it all set up, told me to walk through with my dumbass. Ugh.
That's crazy.
And then you should have seen the look on their face. Look, she fell for it. Go ahead, ask her, talk to her about the lingerie. Go for it. Okay. Because I was like, it's not bad. It's a little tank top. It's some shorts.
I'm assuming you don't have that outfit anymore.
Oh yeah, I have it in my drawer.
Oh damn! I would have thrown that out, man. So that's nothing but bad memories by the sound of it. But that is actually quite disturbing, disgusting that they actually wanted to. They hoped that you'd also play with yourself, shall I say? Because that's just too far.
Yeah, somebody had mentioned that they had said that I sent him a video, but I was like, no, they must have got the words from the beginning when I said I sent him this and I sent money and I did this and I did that.
Mm. That's crazy, man. Like,
I would never say I sent something when I didn't.
No. Listen, at the end of the day, you got to speak the truth. So
ask Chidi if he has it.
when it comes to the financial side of things, did you ever send him like tons of money, or just money just for little bits here and there?
The most money I ever sent to him throughout time was like a total of like 750, and then my mom bought him that brand new Android.
Oh yeah, the one that he broke up, from my understanding.
Yeah, he broke it on the way up as soon as I was about to land.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, not as soon, but like an hour into it or so. I got the news and I was like, yeah. The producer passed by on the airplane. Hey, Chidi broke his phone, just so you know.
I'm assuming that the 750 was what you sent like over the space of the 5 years that you knew him.
Yeah, it was in the beginning it was a little bit more, but then after that he kind of started asking for money. So it became more of money, but then still interest. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
started caring more about, babe, I need funds. I want this. I want that. But it's like the only reason I helped him in the beginning was because he said his mom was paying for the schooling and that his dad was dead and there was nobody to help her. And I felt bad for the mom, so I paid his school for her.
It's kind of crazy because obviously, as you said earlier on, that like, you know, there was never really any signs that he came from a place where they had no money. Do you see what I'm saying? So money's always been there, but at the same time, even asking for money was also an easy thing for him to do too, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, because he uses his disability, and now that he sees that everyone's feeling bad for him, you know?
Okay. So you're saying that you felt as if maybe he used his disability towards you to ask money from you too.
Oh yeah, like he didn't even tell me in the beginning what he was just gonna play me. Like I was over there giggling, laughing, playing with him, and I fell in love with him so quick because he had a totally different personality. This guy used to talk for hours and laugh and have fun and joke. The guy I met is a dead idiot, not to be mean, but this wasn't him, you know what I mean? So we had so many wonderful conversations. So it was easy to fall in love with him at first. And then
Mm-hmm.
I not in love, but I was like, oh, I like him because he used to call me all day, every day, and nobody had ever done that. So I think I fell in love with how much he actually liked me. And I never called him in 5 years. Thank God I didn't. Maybe 5 times at most if you was to ask him, because I'm like, because now I could say he's the one that called me, you know?
Oh, interesting. Because I know obviously
5 years.
they had portrayed it differently. I remember on IG when they both came out to talk about when him and his sisters spoke about obviously the timeline of you two being together. I'm pretty sure from my memory it was portrayed as if you was the one that was always trying to chase him, not the other way around.
Never. Ask him how many times I called him to his face and he would tell you either never or like 3 or 4.
Well, that changes everything, doesn't it? Changes everything.
Oh yeah, that's a promise, and I wish I had my lie detector test on my finger or wherever it goes.
Oh yeah, I remember you obviously talking about that on your soldiers, talking about how you wanted to do a lie detector test to prove your truth. But
Yes, I was like, him and his family both took part. Like the brother took part in playing me, but I swear, like in my innocent mind, I was waiting for everything. You know,
well,
gave it hope.
hopefully, after people have watched this video, that I'm hopefully some people, if not everyone, will have a different perspective on obviously on how they want to view you moving forward. I mean, listen, end of the day, for me myself in particular, throughout the season, I was definitely critical towards yourself as well as I was critical to him. And then once the GoFundMe came out, I was even more freaking critical, to be honest. So with obviously with himself in particular, you know what I mean. But I will say, obviously, now we've had obviously this conversation here. I think this was a good opportunity for you to come out, to have your say, to obviously to tell things from your perspective, and therefore people can have their own opinions in terms of how they want to view you moving forward. You see what I'm saying? And all I can say is I appreciate obviously you coming out. So I know obviously you didn't have to do this. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there
Let me
anything?
know if you need it. If I could think of anything, I'll message you. But let me know if you think of anything.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank.
So here's the thing, you know, just like you've now you finally listened to the interview, okay? You've heard everything that she's had to say, all right? And now also without Rayne even telling us ourselves, we know from other interviews that I've done that there has been this continuous thing by cast members saying that when it comes to the production, there's always instigating happening. They're controlled. They're told not necessarily what to do, but you know they can instigate certain things, so therefore they can get a reaction out of certain people. So we all know the famous scene regarding the chicken scene, which is why everybody calls it the chicken lady, right? Well, here's the thing. This right here was before the scene was filmed. So what had happened was she got there obviously early with other family members or other people of the village that I've obviously covered their face because obviously they wasn't. I don't remember them being a part of the show, so I wasn't gonna show their faces. Okay, out of respect. So here's the thing. What happened here is that she had got here. She had time to spend. She had time to spend time with the chickens to get to know the chickens. As you can see, she's actually holding a chicken in her hand. So therefore, right now in this situation here, what is she doing? She's obviously having that bonding time with the chicken. So then, by the time she's done this, they've them now put on the camera, and now because the camera's rolling, now they're saying, "Oh yeah, now we're gonna take the chicken's life." So this is an example of why Rayne, you know, obviously is reference to the fact that she was set up in scenes. And this is one of those scenes where she was set up, and this is the evidence here to show you folks that, hey, guess what? The reason why she came across so, you know, was purely because they knew how to trigger her bonds. They knew, okay, how to make sure they got a reaction out of her. So therefore, they knew the fact that she had her own relationship with chickens anyway at home. So therefore, they put in a situation where she got to know the chicken, and all of a sudden, they're now telling her, guess what, the chicken's now gonna get slaughtered. And then of course she ended up reacting the way she reacted, which for me personally, this makes so much more sense now. So much more sense, because obviously it didn't make sense at the time due to the fact that we know she's got chickens and we know that she eats them anyway, right? Didn't make any sense, but of course she explained that anyway herself in a way. But here is that evidence to say that her reaction wasn't a reaction of just off the whim. It was a reaction of the fact that they even got her to spend time with the chicken first before they handpicked that same chicken to say, okay, this is the one we're going to take out, to purposely trigger her, all right? And then also on top of that, let's not forget, here you can see she's obviously smiling, she's happy, right? Something else that she obviously referenced. But also on top of that, this is the famous beach scene before it even happened. As you can see, both of them are there, both of them are happy, both of them are smiling. And Rayne has said, that whenever they were off camera, Chidi was nothing but lovely to her. But as soon as the camera started rolling, all of a sudden he was a completely different person. Completely different person, And as you can see here, this is a little bit of evidence to say that, hey, as you can see clearly, when the camera's not rolling and obviously the team, the production team setting up, as you can see, they're there smiling. But then of course, by the time everything's set up now, all of a sudden, switch has happened. A switch up happens, and then boom, all of a sudden she's blindsided, and therefore she's supposed to set up again, and then obviously we get the reactions that we have gotten. Now here's the thing, I know obviously, and this is why obviously I still ask the question of, like, are you aware of the fact that you come across the way you are? You heard the interview, you listened to it, you see what I'm saying, okay? And it's kind of crazy though, because we know that recently, Sharp Entertainment, 90 Day Fiancé, have been purposely, we cannot deny it, they have been, arguably purposely been recruiting people to be on the show that are deemed as unstable, whether that be a Lauren, okay? You know what I mean? Yeah, whether that be a Kyle, whether that be a Scott, whether that be an Angela, whether that be an Ed, whether that be a Brian or Josh. So it's clear that when they recruit people to be on the show, or they accept people to be on the show, they accept people to be on the show that they feel that they can manipulate, they feel that they can control, people who they feel that they can obviously, trigger them. Again, that does not excuse the way Rayne did behave, but at least we have the reasons. Okay, at least we have the reasons, and don't give me, and trust me, we've had the conversation. I said, hey, but this is not the way, is it though? But nonetheless, though, I did say to you folks, there's gonna be more voice notes that I was also gonna play for you guys as well. So we're now gonna play the voice notes as well, okay, regarding obviously what else Chidi had been saying to Rayne that also, further backs up some of the things that she said throughout the interview, or at least give you guys an idea to say that surely she can't be lying, because she's got evidence to even prove that this man is not the man that we saw on TV, and he's somebody else completely different when the cameras are off. So let's play the first one, because I've got several ones to play. So hang in tight. Let's get it.
Baby, this whole thing was just complicated.
Double tap to activate.
When it comes to the area of the camera group, in fact, I didn't know that it is going to be a highly controlled production. Everything was just complicated and stuff. Well, it's I don't know what to say, but I just want to be with you. That is it. I just want to be with you. But it's quite unfortunate how you accused me of being a scammer and trying only to extract visa from you after you know how much I've loved you right from the beginning, how much I was there for you, in those times when we, got to know each other newly. I was always there for you, encouraging you, inspiring you and helping you get through some of all those challenges. It's quite saddening how all of a sudden I now became a scammer and one who is only trying to extract visa. But it's all in fact, there is no problem. There's nothing that you've said and nothing that has happened have changed my love for you. Indeed, my love for you still remains evergreen. You are still the queen of my heart. It doesn't matter how tall the challenges are that are every day attacking our relationship, but what has brought us together is greater and bigger and stronger. Don't you ever think our coming together is just by accident. No, it is never by accident. It is divinely planned. If we were meant to be apart, we would have been apart a very long time ago. In fact, we wouldn't have known each other. Why do you think that after all the fight and bickerings, after everything, we still come back and circumstances will still bring us together and stuff? So, well, maybe in your mind, you might be thinking that it is over between us, that you are moving on as you continue saying it. Well, if that is your decision to move on, I'm not trying to stop you, but I can only tell you that it is beyond us. It is beyond us.
Navigate up
Come
button.
on, babe.
Double tap to
I can't
activate.
wait to see you again, man. How can I show you? Next time we meet, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be a different ball game altogether. Of
Navigate up
course, I'm
button.
not trying to
Double
stop you
tap to
from getting
activate.
someone by your side. Please understand me. All I'm just trying to tell you is that in spite of all us, that I still love you, I still cherish you, I still admire you and appreciate you for who you are and for everything you represent, right? So I'm not trying to cast all the blames on you. No, you are an awesome person. You are such an incredible woman that I will, I will ever be grateful to have met you and to have known you, right? So that is it. Babe, I wish you didn't go. I wish you stayed back and stayed with me. I want to be with you. Why would you say
Navigate
that?
up button.
I never rejected you,
Double tap
and
to activate.
I can never reject you. You understand? That is it. I cannot. It's not possible. It's even unthinkable. Babe, you
Navigate up
said that
button.
the newest thing
Double tap to
is your
activate.
ability to separate yourself from me. So, who is in your life now? Who is the man that have taken over, that has filled the vacuum, that has measured up?
Navigate up
Plus,
button.
I appreciate you
Double
for
tap to activate.
everything. You are such an awesome woman. I don't take you for granted. I don't take and can never take all your sacrifices for granted. I deeply appreciate you. Thanks so much for everything. God will bless you and prosper you in all your ways.
I mean, I'm not even going to add anything in terms of my own thoughts on that. I'm going to leave that up to you folks, because as far as I'm concerned, we've all seen the season. We all saw, of course, obviously how he was with her. We saw how she was with him. But at least now we know that when it came to her reactions, they were happening because of things that were happening there based on what she said in this interview, okay? And also just with the evidence that we have here, we can say that the way he was on the show, well, we can definitely see the comparisons between obviously how he is behind closed doors. And at the end of the day, would anybody be this eager to chase somebody who they had allegedly broke up with on the show, okay? And felt as if that person isn't deemed to be with them. Now, with that being said, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.